What's up guys, welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/TalesFromTechSupport. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. This story's called, Note to Self, Don't Deposit Money at This Bank. So, I often deal with people who don't understand technology in the course of my job in tech support for an unspecified company. I think I have a new king of Dumb Mountain, the most fundamentally incompetent caller I've ever worked with. I should have been on guard when it took 3 attempts to make him understand that I needed to know the company he worked for so I could ticket the call. The way I word these quotes may not be exact, but the spirit is there. So context for those who don't know, and I may not be describing it precisely, but it works well enough for the story. An IP address is a network address. These can be on the larger internet. For example, when you type in google.com, it's really navigating to an IP address. There are also local IP addresses that devices that don't connect to the larger internet can have in relation to each other on a home or business network. This was an important distinction that was lost on my caller, who I will call Rex. It was a busy Friday in tech support. One of the openers for the day had called in sick, so I came in with 10 calls on hold. A few hours in, I get a call from Rex, a contractor for a bank. One of the devices I support is freezing up. To troubleshoot this, I need to see the log from the device. I explain he can get this for me by typing in its IP address into a browser and downloading it from there. Due to the aforementioned backlog, I'm not able to walk him through it. Not that I typically do, since when I do that, they expect me to sit with them while I analyze the log, when I could have already dealt with another caller or two in the meantime. I sent Rex a guide on how to pull the log from the device with instructions to email it to me once he had it. He did not know the IP address of the device, which was annoying, but fine. We were able to find it in the device's settings. We have our weekly tech department meetings, so I closed out the call, documented it, and prepared to leave. Right before I left, I see an email from him. He says, "Since you have my IP address, I assume that you already downloaded the log. What did you see?" This would be like assuming that because I have a key to my house on 3rd Street, I should be able to walk into any house on any 3rd Street in the world without leaving my hometown. I reply by email, explaining to him that I am not able to do that. I reiterate that he needs to follow the guide I emailed him. I chuckled to myself since I had a good story to tell the guys at the meeting. We all have a good laugh, and I assume that's the end of it until I get back and see the log. When I return from the meeting, I see an email request to call him back. He said it was showing him an error message when he attempted to log in. We are a first-come, first-served call center, and we were still slammed and undermanned. So that wasn't happening. I sent him an email asking him to describe the error since that would tell me what was going on. I don't hear back from him for a few hours, which I take to mean he either has given up or resolved the issue in another way, or possibly called in and gotten help from one of my coworkers. I'm not gonna complain since it was gonna be a painful call either way. He struggled with basic questions and directions. It had been like pulling teeth to get an idea of what issue he was even having. In the last hour of my day, while I'm on another phone call, I get a 1.5-minute voicemail from Rex. "Please, I just can't log into the device. You have the IP address, why can't you log in? It keeps showing me an error message. I don't know how to find my PC's IP address, so I don't think I can get into it." This admission was actually a relief to me. Finding your PC's IP address is such a basic operation that if somebody can't do it, we are supposed to deny them further help until somebody who understands networking calls in on their behalf. Now, if this were a Joe Schmo homeowner, that'd be one thing. I understand that, but this was a guy who was a contractor paid to work on a bank's network devices. A bank that stores financial information for at least tens of thousands of people. He thinks the bank's network is just 100% open to the world, ready for me to zip in and download whatever I feel like. And that is the story of the new king of Dumb Mountain, who was told to have IT call in after I made one last desperate attempt over email to convince him that I didn't have access to his network. I'm sure he thinks I'm being completely unhelpful and wonders why I just won't log into the station, since he gave me the IP address already. Wow, what a big old dummy dumb, am I right guys? Doesn't know how to find the the P.O. box of the... Just kidding. Yeah, you probably shouldn't be in charge of a bank's networking if you don't know how to find your computer's IP address. Which, don't feel stupid if you don't know how to do that. This guy, that's his job to know how to do at least a little bit of something like that, you know what I mean? So don't worry, you aren't stupid. Unless you are, then you are. I'm kidding. This story's called, Of Course He Broke Your PC. So a little bit about me for starters. I started working for the support department of a network provider about a year ago to finance my apartment and my studies in computer sciences. While the past years certainly provided me with a lot of stories to tell you, maybe I will someday, this happened to me recently at my university. A friend and I were in a mandatory course together called Databases and Web Technologies. Basically, you learn HTML, PHP, and MySQL to make your own websites. Since we had an assignment due a couple of days later, we sat together working on our website as a couple of other students entered the room. First, we didn't bother talking much except for a short hi as they entered. But from what they said to each other, we were certain that they studied Media Communications and Design, a degree at our university, and that they were sitting at the same assignment as we did. The course is mandatory in their studies as well. We could see that they were struggling much more than us. After all, we have learned coding basically since entering the campus the first time, while their studies never really touched that area of digitalization before. After finishing our assignments, we went over to their desk and offered help. They gladly accepted, and after we fixed a couple of mistakes in their MySQL series and their PHP scripts, the website was up and running. Their HTML framework didn't need to be touched. Apparently, they already learned this kind of language in a different course. They thanked us for the help, and we packed our bags, ready to leave, as one of these guys, I don't remember the name, but Dustin seems fitting for someone with zero brains. He turned to my friend, I'll call him Tom from here on.
I think you broke my laptop.
Why?
The screen turned black and it's not turning on again.
Tom checked the on-off switch himself. He still believes that people are capable of basic principles of power supply. Meanwhile, I saw that there was no charger plugged into the laptop. Have you tried plugging the charger in?
No, I always charge it overnight.
Do you have the charger with you?
Yes.
Dustin made no attempt to recharge his laptop. Tom, in his casually calm manner,
well, how about you try charging your laptop and we have a look if everything's fine? No, you broke it, you fix it.
At this point, I begin losing my patience. When talking to customers at work, I usually show more restraint. But there was no way I'd stand by and watch while this bloke falsely accused my friend after we helped him with his assignment. He didn't break it. He was helping you. Now get your charger or we will leave. Dustin was about to open his mouth, but a girl from his group spoke up. The rest of the group remained silent, so I assumed that they were either used to him or ignored his shenanigans, or he was some kind of group leader to them. Though that would require some serious elementary school mindset in a freaking university. Just try it, Dustin. We've all been here long enough.
Fine.
He got out his charger and recharged the laptop. Tom waited a few seconds, pressed the on switch. The laptop immediately started booting and showed the desktop a few seconds later. I was not surprised that this guy didn't have it password secured. We again were ready to leave as Dustin called out to us again.
Why are my files broken?
Excuse me?
The files you helped us with?
In what way are they broken?
They just look like before you helped us.
Didn't you save your files?
No, I only do that when I'm finished.
Why was I not surprised? Seems like your computer dropped all the changes when it shut down.
So fix it.
I got visibly unnerved. It's late. Your friends have the fixed versions of your files. Just ask them for a copy.
But your friend broke it.
I lost it.
We didn't break anything. You forgot to charge your PC and keep blaming us. We are done helping you.
At this point, Tom grabbed me by the shoulder and we both left. We later had a laugh about it over a couple of beers at our favorite bar. But for the time being, I was still boiling with anger. Anyways, a couple of days later, I met one of Dustin's friends in the city. He apologized and explained that they went to their professor and got Dustin kicked out of their work group. Apparently, he has been leeching off of them throughout the entire course so far. And after the little incident, they decided that they couldn't stand him anymore. So Dustin has to do all the assignments on his own now. I'm sure he will do just fine. Oh man, I hate group work because you know what? I always ended up doing everything basically. Because, okay, I'm not trying to sound narcissistic or anything, but like every school I went to, and I moved every couple years for a little while, I was always the designated smart guy, you know what I mean? So, while that definitely was good for the ego, it didn't help my workload, you know what I mean? This story's called, They Just Needed to Unplug for a Bit. Hey, I'm me. Doctor Who fans will get it. Some time ago, I started working as a tech support and decided to share some of my stories. To explain, this company I work for provides standardized network infrastructure to all sorts of commercial chains. We aren't the biggest player in the market, but given that we produce a customized model for each new customer, and bigger companies usually aren't that flexible, the sales department was able to pull in enough contacts to keep us afloat for quite some time. It is my job to take calls and work on problem reports when something malfunctions. A couple of weeks ago, I got a relatively simple call from one of our technicians, Mr. T from here on. This is company, my name is me, what can I do for you? Hey me, it's T. I'm in Brad's store right now to install the router. Someone forgot to order a DSL line, so I installed it with an LTE modem. Great, let me just check the connection. I got the router IP from our database and ran a ping on it. After 30 pings, it showed me an average ping time of around 180 milliseconds and around 30% package loss. I'm sorry T, but that won't do. We're losing packages and the connection is really slow. Is there any place else you can put the modem to improve the connection? Let me have a look. I'll call you again in a minute. 10 minutes later, how's it going? Fine, I found a good spot I think. I checked the connection again, average ping 70 milliseconds and 2% package loss. That looks so much better. Where's it located now? I need to make a note in case they have problems again. It is on a shelf behind the last register. The server cabinet is in the basement, so I had to patch it through and unplug the card reader. Note, I love it when technicians do their job properly. Okay, I'll make sure this is taken care of once the DSL line is running. Would you mind telling the personnel that the modem cannot be unplugged? The entire register system depends on that router and its internet connection. Of course, have a nice day. You too, bye. After this, I sent a note to project management about the current state of this particular store, so they could take care of the DSL line. Not thinking that this store would be an issue today, I started working on some problem reports. About an hour later, the same store that T and I brought online sent in a report. Total connection failure, registers and card readers offline, no phone connectivity. The phones run through our router as well. My test ping confirmed the report and I already had an idea what had happened. So I looked up T's number and my call history and entered the number. T here. Hey, T, it's me again. Could you go back to the store again? I just got a problem report saying it doesn't connect anymore. You're lucky that I'm still nearby. I'll be there in 15 minutes. I'll call you back. Thanks. 15 minutes later. Here I am. Looks like someone unplugged the modem despite my warning. I see you plugged it back in. The connection looks fine again. I did, but the manager, C from now on, for Clementine, obviously, wants to talk to you. Manager, apparently just taking T's phone without asking, is this tech support? Yes, how can I? Why does the card reader have to be unplugged? Your store doesn't have a DSL line yet, so we needed to install the modem. Why can't it be installed where the other devices are? As I was about to say, there wasn't enough connectivity in the basement, so it had to be installed upstairs. I'm sorry if... But why here? Can you just put it anywhere? It's a wireless connection, isn't it? The connection between the modem and the internet is wireless, yes, but... So where's the problem? The problem is that the modem still needs a wire to connect with the router in the basement. So it isn't wireless after all? The connection between the modem and the router is not. No. So why are you lying? I didn't. I just told you what part of the connection is wireless and what is not. I am sorry if the current solution causes discomfort, but I can assure you, we work as fast as possible to get someone to install the DSL line into your store. Until then, don't bother. I sent the last guy away. He made way too much noise. Hello? At this point, I muted my phone and yelled a bunch of curses through the office. I'm sorry, ma'am. There must have been a connection problem. So what are you gonna do? Well, unless we get a DSL line in there, you will have to make do with the modem. This is unacceptable! Fine. Send someone either at 9 p.m. today or 6 a.m. tomorrow. I want this done ASAP and I don't want them to disturb my customers. I'm sorry, but the guys installing the line come from a different company. I can issue an express service, but that will only guarantee that they will fix the issue by tomorrow evening. Fixed appointments aren't possible. Unacceptable! I will call your manager about this. She hung up. After this, I decided it was best to call my manager first and give her my version of the story. Understanding as always, she told me not to worry and called the regional manager of that store, telling him that manager was refusing our service, and if she wouldn't come to terms with us, we would have to take her store offline indefinitely. Obviously, the regional manager couldn't allow this to happen and made sure that manager wouldn't interfere with the guys installing the DSL line again. T called me later and the two of us had a good laugh about it. Wow, don't you just hate it when someone's trying to fix your problem but you don't let them because the solution is slightly inconvenient for you for a little bit? Yeah, me neither. This story's called IT Guy Claims It Was Our Mistake, Didn't Hang Up the Phone Properly. I worked on a technical support help desk for an ISP that did broadband. We used to send these rubbish modems with a single Ethernet socket designed to be connected to a switch. We had a problem customer who kept reporting theirs had died, and we sent out new ones. They were cheap, and we really didn't care about sending new ones out. So the customer's IT guy calls in saying the modem isn't working correctly. It turns out he had connected modem into modem into modem using RJ11 modem cable and thought he could run his business network off of it. Trying not to laugh, I told him the hardware doesn't work like this and told him what to buy. The guy thanks me and hangs up, but doesn't hang up correctly, so the call is still connected. I hear him walk away from the phone and say to his boss,
"They made a mistake and they're gonna fix it."
This annoyed me because I was proud of my work. I rang back and asked through reception to talk to his boss. I said, "I just spoke to your employee regarding your network problems, and he didn't hang up the phone properly, so I heard his conversation with you. I want to clarify, we have made no mistake. Your employee is trying to use the hardware incorrectly and he lied to you." The guy thanked me for telling him and we ended the call. A few weeks later, their new IT guy called. The old guy had been fired. Alright, not that bad of a story. The IT guy was dumb. Yep, we can all agree there, right? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.